Man up, stand up, spark the fucking band up, put your fucking hands up, put down the cameras, rush they ass to the dirt, we about to move the earth, megahertz do the work, this a cold blue alert, homegirl do the twerk, BBL about to burst, when it bursts it's the worst, you was in it face first, get your mind out the gutter, homie it's about the butter, it's about the milk and honey, get your mouth off the udder, it's about your baby brother, get him out this motherfucker, put him on the right path, teach him how to fight back, teach him how to whoop some ass, teach him how to make a blast, teach him how to get the money and make the cheddar last. All I wanna know is, do you got the manpower? Do you got the manpower? Do you got the manpower? All I wanna know is, do you got the manpower? Do you got the manpower? Do you got the manpower? Do you got the...
Hey, it's Soleil, and this is 482 of the Orange Pill Investor. And today I want to talk about, some people say Bitcoin is not an IQ test, it's a courage test. And unfortunately, I wilted under the bright lights on Wednesday. I had my question all queued up, and I was looking at the agenda, and none of the agenda, I was going to ask about op return and whether Bitcoin treasury companies should, do a formal review and make recommendations to the custodians about whether to, maybe remain on core 29, refuse to upgrade to 30, or maybe even choose an alternative like knots. And I was rehearsing it so I didn't stutter, and I'd sound coherent and concise and not ramble. And the very last session came up, and I was like, okay, this is my last chance. And I was even sitting pretty close to the stage. Could have probably got somebody's attention to get the microphone when we did questions at the end. And like right when I was about to try to go for it, like the anxiety of public speaking just caught me, and my freaking heart was just pounding in my ears and chest. I probably could have had a freaking heart attack. Felt like I was trying to, I was having like approach anxiety or something. Some girl, going up to talk to a girl and she's gonna throw a drink in my face or something. But oh shit, is my mic not working? Let's try. Oh, and it's noisy? Is that any better? Is there background noise? Every once in a while that happens. All right, cool, appreciate it. And so, yeah, I missed my chance, and kind of mad about it. But what are you gonna do? People probably think like, oh, you're on camera all the time, you do lives, all this crap. But public speaking is absolutely fucking terrifying. And even the one that we did in MSTR True North at MSTR World, I was went up on stage, but I wasn't by myself. You know what I mean? Had some of the other guys up there with me, and didn't really have to carry the whole conversation. And man, being in a room with like 400 people, it just having to try to take the spotlight on yourself. I couldn't muster up the courage for it. So, unfortunately that didn't happen. Better luck next time. But somebody did share a good clip of Saylor talking about op return, which if I feel like I had seen it, but then I must have forgotten about it because it was really good. And he kind of was talking about the unintended consequences or second and third order effects that can happen with some of these changes. And he had a funny kind of quip at the end. It was like, you want to ruin Bitcoin, take some young, well-meaning developer and tell them to make it better. And I think that's exactly where I'm at with the core versus knots debate. It was like, core used to be aligned, it seems like. And whether it's accidental or intentional, there's a vulnerability there. And the careful curation of the changes doesn't really seem to be happening now, right? The fact that it's so contentious should be a red flag, and Core should just be like, oh, let's go back to the drawing board because there's a significant part of the network that doesn't want this. That's how they used to act. And if they were still a trustworthy caretaker of the code, they would still be behaving that way. And I think that's kind of like my base case from first principles. And a lot of the core people want to talk about the tech, right? Oh, you're not technical. And that's kind of a shitcoiner philosophy. What I mean by that is every time somebody comes out with a shitcoin, whether it's Ethereum with smart contracts or whether it's Ripple and we can do all these transactions per second, right? Caspa thinks that they've solved the trilemma, and it's always irrelevant. The tech does not matter, right? Jeff Booth likes to say Bitcoin will succeed as long as it remains decentralized and secure. And so the scalability, which is the third leg of the trilemma that has to be solved outside of the base layer, as long as we stick to that, which is what Bitcoin is, we should be good to go. However, fiat will attack the network. And so if you think of, okay, what we know 51% attack is covered, right? That's the proof of work. Miners got that covered. So what are the other kinds of likely attacks might they make? Well, they might try to infiltrate the developers, or simply foster an environment where the developers are well-meaning and don't really think several chess moves ahead. And even over the last 5 years, 10 years, even with the careful deployment of their upgrades, that's where this spam problem even came from. So the SegWit and Taproot upgrades, when you would assume the developers were trying to safeguard the network, allowed these bugs, right? And instead of fixing those bugs over the last 5-10 years, they are just kind of like kicking the can down the road because, it's too hard. It's too hard to keep up with the hackers and the spammers and the scammers, right? It's a never-ending onslaught that we can never win, so we're just going to give up. Even as well-meaning as they were in the past, they still made mistakes, and these bugs were still, introduced into the code. So what are the negative possible effects in the current day when, they're not even trying to be careful? It's just like, okay, you guys are worried about this, but we don't give a shit because you're not technical. So the you're not technical or you don't understand the tech is a shitcoiner's mantra. That's what they shout from the rooftops. So it doesn't really bother me that I can't argue with, Adam Back or any of these people who are super technical. It's really just first principles, libertarian understanding of property rights, and a general distrust of large changes and the unintended consequences when people are trying to throw up warning flags and we shouldn't do this. And a huge part of the network, we're up over 20%, I think, on NOTS nodes. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It doesn't even matter if Core V30 is harmless. The fact is, there are people that are super paranoid about it, and for good reason. And that should be enough. Like the whatever bells and whistles or positive attributes to version 30 that there could possibly be, like some tiny little benefit. Okay, maybe we don't get that if we don't roll with this upgrade, but it's well worth not getting some slight improvement if we can avoid a huge risk. That only just seems perfectly logical, and it just seems like they want to twist themselves into a pretzel to try to justify some tiny small hypothetical benefit and ignore like catastrophic results, which is in the range of outcomes. That's not hypothetical either, because it definitely happened with BSV. So a similar V30 change to what Core's about to put in had disastrous results for BSV. So anyway, a little bit bummed I wasn't able to come through and nut up and raise my hand and ask the question, but maybe I'll get another chance. Let's see. Pika says, if you were to do covered call on Strife, holding as cash. Oh, okay, I see. Would you do ATM or out of the money? Can always get back in before ex-dividend date. Thoughts? Yeah, I think I took a look at Strife last week or the week before. I can't imagine the options are terribly interesting, but the major red flag to me isn't even the strikes or the expiration or any of that stuff. It's this bid-ask spread right here. So even if I was going to be pretty aggressive and sell, well, this one's not as bad. Yeah, it's still kind of, it's a 30-cent bid-ask spread here, and the mid price is like 55. So the bid-ask spread is like over half as wide as the entire premium that you would collect here. So I kind of hate the liquidity. So even before getting into the details of your question, I already just don't like this market. So regardless of the profit that you can get off of this, I'm just not interested personally. But to answer the question, would you do ATM or out of the money? So if we did at the money at the 115, that would be about what, 3% call away value, up from 112 to 115. And if we, let's see, 1% of the share price would be $1.15. So this would be about half of that. So this would be about 0.5% profit in 30 days. So that's like, that's 0.5% divided by 4 to get that to weekly. So now we're talking about 0.25%. So 0.125% a week. Yeah, 0.5% for the month would be, times 12 months would be 6% a year. So the covered call, you could potentially make 6%. And then if the price of if the price of the stock went over 115, you'd get called away. Yeah, let's try out of the money. I mean, there aren't even any bids, and in the expected move, like, is 115. So, like, technically 115 is like at the money and out of the money at the same time. It's the next highest strike, but it's actually the freaking expected move. So this is not interesting to me at all. Going out 60 days, at least the expected move was to 120. But the bid-ask spread is huge. The mid price is probably like $1. Yep, $1.30. And that would be about 7% call away value. And what, 1.2% return on capital in 2 months. I'm not blown away by the call away value. The premium and the bid ask spreads are suspect. But if you've already decided that you're going to own these shares and you just want to skim a little bit off the top, I mean, I guess going out to 60 days, slightly out of the money. I don't know. At least there's a market here and there's a few bids. But it's gonna be hard to get fills. And then when you want to roll, it's gonna be hard to close and roll too. I kind of hate everything about this. There's no weeklies. There's not enough liquidity for weeklies. To answer the question, if someone was holding a gun to my head, I suppose I would go out to 30 to 60 days, either one, and go to like 115, 120, and just scrape a little bit I could out of it, I suppose. But isn't it's like 10%. Well, it's probably down to 8 or 9% annual, right? Yeah, I don't know. What's up, Andre? Implied vol on Bitcoin's ETFs relatively low right now. Are 2 to 3 month long calls a good idea? I mean, anything that's long leverage, if Bitcoin pumps, will work out for you. So it's completely dependent on that. So you mean like an IBIT? Well, so, and the other part of that, your question, the second part is 2 to 3 month a good idea? Going out that short, 60 to 90 days, you have to be right very quickly. You can put all of your suppositions into optionsprofitcalculator.com and see, if Bitcoin rips to such and such and IBIT goes to whatever. You can see what your profits would be. So if you get November's or December's and you are right? If Bitcoin runs to 150 or whatever, 200, you're going to print a bunch of money, but there's not a whole lot of time to be right. I mean, if it doesn't happen in like, I don't know, 2 to 6 weeks, then you absolutely lose almost everything. So like, theta is very high on this stuff. Like, especially the 60-day, this is when option sellers really start to move in hard, is at 60 days, anywhere under 2 months, 30 to 60. Some option sellers even start selling at 90, which is why I usually get out of my long calls at 90. in 90% of the cases, I simply refuse to hold long calls under 90 days, which I might, since today is September 19th, I probably got to go and roll my Decembers. So for me, it's generally not a good idea because you have very little time to be right. Theta is accelerating. So if you're going to do it, you have to be right very quickly, to compensate for the headwinds that you're kind of setting yourself up against. So if you're confident that Bitcoin is about to do some, do the thing, then you could make some money on it. But it's definitely risky. The goal is to maintain cash with returns beyond dividends better than holding cash. Don't expect options traders to trade this. This is like a supercharged checking account. Yeah, I can't imagine there's going to be any vol to this thing. I was kind of surprised that they even offered options, but maybe the options injects a little bit of extra volatility or liquidity into the market in general. So hopefully they had a good reason for doing it. Buffalo says just buy Stride and get 12%. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. When Stride came out, I was like, oh, I would buy this I would rather have this than STRF because I'm super confident they're not going to not pay dividends. So this seems like a smash. Like it just seems like this needs to go to 100. Like if Strafe goes up, this has to go up too. But maybe everything's waiting for Bitcoin, or maybe everything's waiting for strategy. Yeah, very similar options market here too. Nathan says, you buying Metaplanet. So, no, I don't. What, you still can't buy it on, yeah. So I think I have $50 in a Fidelity account. Like I could fund it, I suppose. But I love Metaplanet and I love Dylan, and he's an OG Bitcoiner. I think he's I don't know jack shit about the moving warrants or the Japanese economy or any of that bullshit. If I could buy it in Tasty Trade or Robinhood, I would buy it just knowing that Dylan's running it, right? I really don't need to know any more than that. However, since it's not convenient and there's no options market, I just can't be bothered. I would love to take a token position in support of Dylan, but yeah, once it's liquid and once it's on a platform that's easy for me to trade on, like it's already a pain in the ass to trade on Tasty Trade and Robinhood. I do the Robinhood one kind of for teaching purposes. It was fun to try like a 5K account challenge. And then tons of people use Robinhood for the free trades and whatnot. But adding a third exchange, and now I got to log into Fidelity, Tasty, and Robinhood. It's that would be a net negative to my my happiness in life. What's up, Alec? Rolled some 1219s out to March this week. I did the same. I trade my wife's account offline, and I had some long calls that I was using for poor man's covered calls, and I had some speculative December 1080s, and I rolled those out. Probably lost a bunch of money on them, but I got my fingers crossed that we get one more pump. I was talking to somebody at one of the bars, and they're like, yeah, everybody's waiting for one more pump, so that's why it won't happen. So I hope we get one, though. SDR price is not as stable. Oh, this is cash maintenance. Yeah, that makes sense. But in that case, why not just go for STRF, which is real solid? I'm sorry, STRC. Like this seems like they're going to have to even pump the interest up another 0.5% or something to get this pushed to 100 and to get it pegged there. So you're going to get a free, what? A free 2% pump from 98 to 100 once they get this pegged to their target. And it looks like they're going to have to bump up the interest again, maybe another 0.5% or something, half quarter. I don't know. I can't remember what increments they do it in. But I guess this is at the top of the capital stack too, so there is a little bit of a. It's not just the price and the interest rates. This year has been pretty stable, high 70s. Can't see it going much lower. Famous last words. Josh Mann said live in an X space 2 days ago that he's calling 444 Bitcoin on 11.8. Crazy if so. Yeah, I hope he's right. That would be fan-frickin-tastic. Buffalo says Josh needs to lay out the sauce. Yeah. I would love it, but also it's kind of terrifying because to launch to 444 from here, like, wouldn't we need to crash hard to get that springboard? Like, what would, I don't have price targets. I mean, and I don't really make price predictions other than like a general vague, I think I'm bullish or I'm bearish, right? I mean, I'd be happy with 150 I would like barely be satisfied with 150 because I could probably exit most of my long strategy leveraged positions at like break even or in profit. But anything over 175 to 200 would just be absolute euphoric for me. So 140 to get to 444 would be pretty wild. Not that it hasn't done crazy things. So what? Oh, let's say we're cyclic in nature. And let's look at September 2020. We're at 10, and by February we went up 5x. But he's talking about doing that in a few weeks. I mean, that took September to February. That would be wild if so. Kind of cool. I'm here for it. I just have no idea. All right, let's see if I got some trades to make here. Got a bunch of cleanup to do. So I ended up with 40 of the December 1080s. They're at basically 90 days to expiration. So I might as well clean these up now. I wonder if I should just try to roll. Let's see if I roll. But I probably just need to close them because, well, let's see what happens if I roll expirations. I think it's going to try to roll 1 for 1. And this is going to cost me a bunch of money. So I don't want 40 positions. I'm probably going to need to drop this down by like, I don't know, under 10 positions. So let's just close them and take my lumps. So paid 430. So lost $300 per contract times 40 is about 12 grand. That's unfortunate. I think it's Jonathan keeps reminding me that the bell is super fucking loud. So I cranked it way down this time. Hopefully that was not offensive. All right, so that gives me $5 grand to spend. So I might as well deal with these rolls right here. I sold them for 300. They're worth 230. I thought I was going to lose about $1,000 a pop on these because the price was, what were we at, 350 today? Are we up to 350? Yeah. But made myself some breakfast, walked the dog, and by the time I got around to it, I'm basically breaking even on these. So I'm going to roll those. Now, if I do want to make a directional bet that we are going to get number go up, I could just not put these on, or I could blow them out to, at least 45 days expiration and make them kind of far out of the money. But I think I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. Maybe these will be a sacrifice to the market gods. And I'll just roll it out to the expected move. Super tiny credit. So I've got 30 days left on the Januaries. I've got 60 days left on the Februaries. These are getting a little bit wrecked, so that's cool. Nothing to do here but sit and wait for extrinsic value to decay. So that leaves me with $6,000. Interesting. Let's go March. There we go, March. What can I get with $6,000? Looks like I can get 10 of these. Okay, they're trying to squeeze every last cent out of me. There we go. All right, kick the can down the road a little bit. And yeah, basically, if this is my drop dead date, because I will be making a decision on the marches in 90 days. So that would be October, December, January. If by January 20th we don't get the 444 or the 175 or the 222 or the, if we don't get something, if the bull market is over, or we're just still, Bitcoin's just still hanging around 120, then I am calling it a day on leverage, and we'll just call this a failed experiment. It would be what would be Murphy's Law if I give up hope in January, and then we get like a late cycle pump after everybody gives up hope. That would just be too good. All right, so I think I'm good here. I got rid of all my stuff that was about to go under 90. Now, if we do get that pump, then the ones that I just closed would have printed more than these March, because there's a difference in the delta and the gamma Greeks. The closer to expiration, you're going to get more appreciation from gamma. But for me personally, it's just too great of a risk based on the increase in the theta acceleration. So there's a trade-off for everything. All right, this account is good to go. Main account, these are actually getting more expensive, not less. So I will sit and do nothing here. Trade. Yeah, I'm still using about 45 grand worth of margin here. And it might have to go up because I need to probably replenish my checking account before I pay bills in 10 days. So yeah, nothing to do here. These still have some time left on them. These gotta go. And these gotta go. These are down, what? 75%. These are down 85%, 90. See if I can close these all in one fell swoop. Let's do full. Some of them didn't fill. Or did they? All right, let's try to close the last three. All right, that gave me about 15 grand. So I could just say, you know what? I could let that chip away at my margin, but I think I'll be revenge betting instead. So I'm out to January. I might as well continue, and we'll stick with March. So, actually, that's 15 grand would be enough to add another poor man's covered call, but the returns on that would be not. Actually, that gave me some positive, serious, significant positive theta there, which is cool. But that's all gonna go once I add. Let's see, 10 would be 15. Excuse me, would be 5 grand. 6-ish. So let's add 15 and have us even 20. I spent about half of what I sold. Cut my positive theta in half as well. Maybe I'll add another. How much did I spend? About 9 grand. Five more. Let's see where that gets me. That'll work. I didn't quite spend it all. And then somehow this account ended up with positive theta. Yeah, we'll leave it there. All right, what is Tesla up to? still kind of hanging out around here. Seems like the market has figured out that robotaxi is not a fucking joke. This shit is happening. I'm super bullish on Tesla, but I'm holding out hope that strategy pumps one more time. And so I can't justify being short on strategy. Okay. I could dump this for $1,300, but I don't know. I'm holding on to this tiny little sliver of a Tesla position for now. We'll see if it runs up again. Not ready to roll. Let me see. Do I have any of the ones that I need to roll? Nope. Still got time for January, March. So no Decembers in this account that I need to worry about. And not ready to roll. So yeah. The only thing that I would consider doing here would be taking profits on this. Not quite 100% double up here. Maybe I should do that. That just seems kind of logical that I'd take profits on a double. And rebalance into the one that I think is undervalued even more. So that gives me $1,300. March, I can add 2 more positions. Oh, I'm still on Tesla. All right, there we go. One thing I got left here is the 100 shares in the covered call. I wasn't paying attention to the vote, so unfortunately, I won't have a ton of voting power this time. Be more than happy to vote for Elon's pay package for the 3rd time, I think it is now. So I think I'm happy with that. But I just wish I had more Tesla shares so I could vote harder. I haven't voted in actual politics for quite a while. And then it will run. We're talking about like after I close my positions. The only thing I like to listen to Josh Mann on are his religious hallucinations. Treasury Orange, don't sweat buckling under the lights at the Unconference. I've been there. Yeah, man. It was it kind of was surprising. Like I knew I would be a little bit nervous, but when it came down to it, I was just like, holy crap. I have to go get an EKG. Okay. This is my spending account. The one that I'm basically probably the most aggressive in. And I've got these to, oh, wow, look at the losses on this one. So paid 15 grand a pop for these and they're only worth 4. So that is brutal. But actually, before I do that, I have to be careful because I think these are what I'm selling my covered calls against. So I have offset these losses with some covered call profits. But if I want to roll these out to March, that's going to cost me. So I have to, I need to close these anyway. So that might fund the roll. It might help fund my poor man's covered calls. Come on, man. There we go. All right, so that gave me a little bit of buying power. These are not ready to roll yet. But that I only have 2,600. So if I try to roll these, I don't think I'm going to be able to roll them to I don't think I'm going to be able to roll them to March. Yeah, that's way, because that's going to be $2,000 each. Unless I dip into margin, which would be annoying. I could roll this up. That's way too reckless. This is already pretty bad as it is. I could sell the Februaries to pay for it. You know what? Let's close these all together. And I'll just start over from scratch. Probably just have to roll that to a single. Yeah. So if I buy the 300, that's pretty risky as is. And then sell. Yeah, at least sell approximately the 385. So right there, the expected move works for me. Okay, 1,400 to spare. That means I can buy 2 of the March. Yeah, I would have liked to have been able to keep 2 of the poor man's covered calls going, but yeah, that just wasn't in the cards. Unless I wanted to sell all of my February and March stuff. But even then, I don't think that would have been enough. Buffalo says, I didn't catch that you weren't going to stream because of the Unconference. For a second, I thought maybe Strive had put a gag order on you until True North next week. Yeah, that's funny. I meant to at least post no shows. And then once I forgot, I was just like, all right, they'll figure it out. But yeah, I should have done it. Alrighty. Yeah, there's no real buying power here. But let's just see what's going to happen. So I sold 3 CLSK 9.5s. Let's close them out for a penny a pop. CLSK is running. I may switch to Wolf since it's a little cheaper. Damn, these ones that are out to 10.24 are also a penny? That can't be right. Yeah, it's just a huge bid-ask spread. Yeah, I think I'm probably good here. And what else do we got? The $70 call. Sold it for $1, so this is going in the wrong direction, so that's good. So is this one, so that can't be ready to roll. Strive is taking a dump. I don't know if that's the pipe investors or what. I mean, I sold these puts for $3 at the $5 strike. So worst case scenario, if I get assigned under $5, my cost basis would actually be $2. So I'm going to be holding these for quite a while, I assume. Way longer than I normally do, but them's the breaks. Here we go. Got to deal with these. So only 90 days left on these. So I'm just going to sell them. I got 5 of them. Let's do 130, maybe. Okay, thought that would fill. 129. Come on. 1.28. It says high fill likelihood. There we go. Okay, finally. All right, so that gives me 3,500-ish in buying power. Anything else for December? No. Got another month left on these. All right. So let's do, I think Wolf is still reasonably cheap. I'm just going to be pretty aggressive, just pure premium play. I'll sell the 11 for 45 probably. This would be about 4% return on capital. This is pretty risky though, at the money. I mean, Wolf could trade down to 7 or 8 pretty easily. The safe way to do that, the safer way to do that would be approximately 45 days to expiration and go to like the $9 strike, $10 strike, something like that. Premiums are pretty reasonable. Every 2 to 3 weeks, try to buy it back for half, roll it back out. And then if, Wolf does crash to 8 and you bought it for 9 or 10, that's a much easier way to trade this. But I don't mind taking some risk. One position, $1,000, that's fine. That leaves me with the rest of that cash that I have available from closing the Decembers. So about 2,700. So let's go out to, I don't have any Marches yet that are at, way out of the money. What did I say? I had 2,600, so I could probably get 4 of these. All right, I think that's all my monies. All the monies. Yep, 4,300 in cash, 3,900 in options collateral. leaves about 460. Could grab one more possibly, maybe in February, but we'll leave it there. I think that'll have to be good enough. Let's see. Bitcoiner says, I re-listened to Saylor on What Bitcoin Did podcast, both episodes he did. He brilliantly explains ossification. Changing Bitcoin's code is theft and is unethical and is against the free market. He explains it so well. It would be like changing the atomic structure of the granite holding up New York City. No one would have built there if they knew the foundation below their building would be changed. No one would have built there in the future if the foundations can be changed at any time. The problem with, if you try to type anything too long, it fucks it up. I think I agree with where you were headed with that. And this isn't a change to the base layer, but this is a huge change. Hey, what's up, Angry Buddha? Can't wait to see you at the next one, man. It was great hanging out. Victor says, my mempool, my choice, Bitcoin knots. I can't agree more. This is just libertarian property rights. Then I own the node. I do understand that if the network validates a transaction, I have to store it in order to participate in the network. However, that doesn't mean that I should be forced to relay transactions that I don't like to other people. It's like, I understand that it's going to happen if I can't stop it, but it doesn't mean I have to help. That just doesn't make any sense. So, that's where I'm at with that one. All right, so we are all caught up on the chats. We are all caught up on the trades. I booked a ton of losses with the December 1080s. So maybe that'll help me with some tax loss harvesting for next year. Maybe that's the silver lining. I wouldn't want to make too much money and have to pay taxes on it. So, plus if the Marches print, if I can put off taking profits to like January 1st, that kicks the tax obligation down the road even another year. So that's kind of cool too. But anyway, yeah, I'm hoping all my covered calls get wrecked and we can print some money. So maybe the market will start sniffing out the front running of the S&P 500, even though they didn't get in. Maybe we'll get some kind of pump from that, or it could be priced in and absolutely nothing happens. So fingers crossed, Bitcoin and strategy do the thing. Yeah, me neither. The first one that I did, I was like, I didn't know what to expect, and just getting to talk to so many people, like, you got to talk to like 10 people in the sauna before you find one that'll actually talk about Bitcoin with you. And, like one guy was even interested. He's like, oh yeah, I'll talk about, whatever. He's like, I own a bunch of Ripple. And I'm like, fuck. I don't want to talk about XRP. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy to be just completely surrounded by Bitcoiners and Bitcoin positivity. I got a tweet all queued up. I meant to post, and yeah, it's like you can't convince a Bitcoiner to buy more than one share, but when you get them together in a Bitcoin conference, like everybody's just become so generous with their time and their money. Like, I'm not sure if I actually paid for a single drink the whole time I was there. It's just so hard to, because people are just want to be friendly, and I got this round, I got that round, and I did protest mildly, but Yeah, in one sense, we stack sats like a fucking monk, right? We just sleep on the floor to stack sats harder. But when people get around each other, the positivity is just insane, and people are so much more generous in person than we kind of portray ourselves to be, being stingy and stacking sats. So um, yeah, get out to some of this stuff. I'm not sure if I thought I wasn't going to be able to do BTC DC, but what we were doing might have fallen through, so I might be able to head out that way. I am 90% sure I will be headed to the Veterans BTC event in Nashville. I think that's in November. You don't have to be a veteran. I think the second day of the conference is actually out on the shooting range. So that's pretty fucking sweet. Um, what else? Isn't there something else? BTC DC, Nashville. You can already get tickets for the next Unconference in January. And if you get them now, I'm pretty sure the prices are much cheaper. I think they had a sliding price, like the closer it gets to the event, the more you pay. So, if you want to get out to the next one, you can probably grab tickets now. I think there's something big that I'm missing, but I'm just so pissed. I didn't go to Hong Kong. I didn't go to Prague. I feel like I just don't want to miss any of them anymore. Vegas was amazing in that it was the first Bitcoin event that I had ever done, but it was a little too shitcoiny. Like, so I don't know. I'll probably try to be a little choosier with some of those types of events, but we'll see. We shall see. But I need to get my passport ready and start hitting some of these international ones and kind of doing a little bit of travel and seeing the world. Ripple sauna chat. Yeah, man, it's brutal in the sauna. Want to make a Bitcoin sauna hat? Most open and gracious group I've been around. Hell yeah. You were you were the second buyer. Yeah, you said you already got your tickets for January. That's crazy. Let's see. They have a price scaling model. Blocks of tickets get sold, and the next block is priced higher. Yeah. Yep. Something scarcity. Something something. All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and it was great seeing people at the Unconference, and hope to see everybody at the next one. Be good, y'all.